Hello everybody, welcome to episode 22 of Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Jay Cluett.
And I am Mark Hoffmeyer.
And joining us for chapter 22, we have two fantastic guests. I've listened to many episodes of them talking, 194 episodes of them talking about Titanic, 130 episodes of at least one of them talking about Tombstone, and I don't know how it works out for Forrest Gump because it was done 4 minutes at a time, but we have Rob and Duff. Welcome.
Hey, thanks guys. Thanks for listening to our nonsense and inviting us onto yours.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's really a little embarrassing when you lay it all out like that. But I will say, I think we're the most qualified podcasters to talk about ocean stuff. So none of this, if you're an ocean noob, sorry, we're going to get deep into the details today. So.
And you've spent a lot of time on this exact set, because this is filmed on the Titanic set.
Oh, in Mexico?
Yeah. In the tank that they built for Titanic is where they shot the majority of Deep Blue Sea. So you're back in familiar waters.
I didn't know that, but I guess that makes sense. I mean, it's only 2 years later. What else are they going to use that tank for?
Yeah.
And the chapter we have today is the most Titanic chapter I could find, where it's just two people heading down a corridor that's mostly flooded.
It is very Titanic, except with Tom, Jane, and Michael Rappaport.
Hey guys, what do you think about the water scene from Tombstone with Kurt Russell saying no? Is that an all-timer water scene, or what do you think about that?
I never really thought of it as a water scene. It is maybe one of the top river crossing scenes, I think.
Yeah.
In the history of cinema.
It's that,
maybe
and
like
it's
right
City
behind.
Slickers.
Yeah, right behind Red River, maybe.
Sadly, my mind immediately went to City Slickers as well.
Sadly? What do you mean sadly? It's a classic.
I think one of my favorite river gags is from The Mummy, where they're not really crossing rivers, but Benny's on the opposite side, and then O'Connell just yells at him.
Them. Yeah.
It's a good river gag.
Yeah, that's
on the wrong side of the river.
That is a good river gag.
Hey, Rob and Duff, can I ask y'all a question?
Yeah.
So, of all the Deep Blue Sea characters, which ones would have the best chance surviving the Titanic sinking? So, they're the B story in Titanic. You have the A story with Jack and Rose running around, and then you have all of the characters from Deep Blue Sea on the boat. Which ones do you think would survive?
Forget Fabrizio, forget Tommy, forget those guys.
And so,
replace them with Deep Blue Sea.
One thing real quick. I just want to throw in one thing. Sorry, guys. I think Carter would have trouble because he slides everywhere. And when that boat is at that 45-degree angle, he would just slide right into the freezing water. And he has his wetsuit cut off on his arms. He'd freeze because he slipped so much.
Yeah, I mean, all of Carter's advantages are kind of cut off because it would be 30-degree water. My initial reaction is whoever's richest will survive.
Yeah.
Because that's the big lesson of Titanic.
Well, you say that, but in 1912, would a character played by Samuel L. Jackson get onto a boat? Not to delve too deeply into that, but I don't...
But he would probably be in the kitchen if he was.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think it's LL Cool J.
I'm going with Cool J. He's crafty.
Baking and surviving.
Yes. He axed his way out of his own oven and on the fly, pretty dangerously to himself, threw a lit lighter into a room full of gas. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's not the scene we're talking about, but that was a pretty ballsy move.
You know that scene in Titanic when there's an explosion off screen? That was Preacher battling another shark in another area of the thing.
Could even have his little speech that we have in this about so much death being all around us.
Yeah, it's all pointless. Why risk it?
Why risk it just to get to the other side of the ocean?
Just for some numbers, because numbers have never been useful. Numbers are just worthless.
I think Jim would be pretty cutthroat getting onto those rafts. Mr. Skarsgård.
Yeah.
I think it's Susan.
That's true.
I think Susan has the female advantage of being allowed onto the boats. She sounds like someone who's upper crust because she's British. I reckon she'd be the Ismay of the Deep Blue Sea Titanic. She'd be the Jonathan Hyde character.
Susan is just going to pull no punch. She's going to be like Billy Zane faking he has a kid. Susan would do something like that.
Yeah.
Although a B story now, you mentioned in Titanic with Fabrizio and Skaggs hanging out. They're not going to make it, but God, that would be entertaining.
Just hugging on stuff and swimming clumsily through the corridors.
So Now what I'm imagining is that scene, like one of the scenes where they show Kathy Bates in the lifeboats, and they're all just watching the ship go down. And now I'm imagining that Preacher and his friggin' parrot are sitting there, and that parrot is just
Shove it on your face! Shove it on your face!
like that parrot is just spouting some nonsense, but like, oh, look at that.
And this is a little known fact. If you turn in at the 2 hour and 37 mark on Titanic, you see a person in a cut-off scuba suit sliding in the background. That's Carter going into the water. Just so yeah, that's a little Easter egg for everybody out there.
God, that's such a great question.
And then, do you think Carter? I know this is horribly cliche, but do you think Carter and Preacher could fit on that giant door? Because they fit on that tiny platform at the end of Deep Blue Sea. Do you think they could both fit on that thing that Jack couldn't do?
I mean, LL's a beefy dude.
Yeah.
So's Tom Jane. They're both of them.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah, they're both pretty.
muscular.
I mean, I'm not saying beefy like fat. I'm saying like they're both pretty. They're built dudes, so you probably got at least 400 pounds of dude, and I don't know if that board could take it.
Imagine that ending, right? With Tom Jane hanging on the door and LL's on top. He's like, we both can't fit. We're beefy dudes. And he just falls into the water.
Once again, it would be better too if the parrot was there.
Bye, Carter.
I can't move this parrot.
Yeah. No beefy dudes. Oh. And who has better hair? Bill Paxton or Thomas Jane? Which one's better locks?
They're both extremely late 90s haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Paxton. I think on that one, I'm gonna give it the Brock Lovett's hair.
Yeah.
I think is a little more 90s.
I think Thomas Jane at least kind of pulls it off and kind of looks of the period, whereas I think Bill Paxton, even at the time, looked like a doofus.
His name was Brock Paxton? Wait, no, Brock
Brock
Lovett.
Lovett.
Brock
His
Lovett.
name was Brock Lovett.
Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
If
you
anyone's a
go.
fan of the Comedy Bang Bang podcast, Paul
so
F. Tompkins occasionally guests as Brock Lovett, and it's delightful.
Oh,
every time he
really?
does.
Yeah, I think we came up with your treasure hunter name.
Don't know
was...
we. This is not a we thing.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Okay,
yeah, what
I
is it?
did.
Yeah.
A treasure hunter name is your first initial, and then you choose either rock, paper, or scissors, and then it's what you think about breasts. So Brock Lovett, that's why he got that name.
Wow.
So, like,
Bill Paxton, you add rock, and then he loves them.
So Jay
that's how
Scissors
you find
Ambivalent.
your treasure hunter name.
So your Deep Blue Sea character name is the first name of your favorite actor and the last name of your favorite athlete. So who would that be?
Oh, man.
Let's see. Mine would be Vin McEnroe.
Oh, that's good.
Wait,
Whoa.
the last name of your favorite? The first or the last of the actor?
First of the actor, last name of the athlete. So I'm Vin McEnroe.
Okay.
I'm just trying.
So I'm Tom Anticanopo.
I'm trying to think if I like an athlete.
Vin Canseco would be pretty good. Oh gosh.
God, I don't know if I have a favorite athlete anymore, so I'll just go with the athlete like for a period in the early 90s, and this probably I don't even know if a lot of people get this, so I don't even know. Let's say John Knobloch.
John Knobloch.
John Knobloch.
That's
Oh, I love it.
that's so good.
Big shout out to all the Chuck Knobloch fans from the very early 90s.
And Chuck Finley fans.
Oh yeah, Angels
Oh, there
pitcher,
we go.
right?
Yeah.
And Bruce Campbell, alter ego from Burn Notice.
Oh really?
Yeah, which I was using years before, and then he started using that, and people started sending me messages, and now people say I ripped him off. So I got a Chuck Finley feud going on with this guy.
Wow.
Yep. I sent in this thing to Esquire magazine complimenting them about their John Leguizamo article, and I used Chuck Finley as my alter ego. I don't know why I did that.
Chuck.
And then years later, he starts using Chuck Finley. Stole from me. He read that magazine. Or like the picture.
Hope he never runs into you in the street.
Oh, yeah, that'd be bad.
Get what's coming to him.
So I think the other rule now is anytime you need to use an alter ego, it has to be a former Los Angeles Angels player.
Yeah. Oh, man. So would Matthew McConaughey's character from Angels in the Outfield count?
Oh, man.
If you can remember
Yes.
the player's name. Like,
Yeah.
Matt McSee character?
what was Tony Danza's character's name?
That's a great question. I should have come more prepared with my Angels in the Outfield.
What are you doing?
I mean,
I was riffing about Angels in the Outfield the other day, because if you're going to use Angels to cheat the entire season and get into the playoffs and win the pennant, then you might as well cheat all the way through, because you already cost teams their spots in the playoffs. You wouldn't have made it. You wouldn't have won a round. Like the sixth man.
Gotcha.
I want my ghost brother to help me win the championship. You've already helped me cheat this far.
well, it's like the 2020 election in that you cheated, but you don't want to make it too obvious, so you don't take the Senate for the Democrats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 3D chess.
And you don't run up your congressional advantage. You just do the presidency because otherwise too obvious.
Yeah. Man, I'm with you. It's 100%.
The answer to the Tony Danza question is Mel Clark.
Ooh. So that'd be Vin
Because
Clark.
Mel Clark.
Okay, this chapter of Deep Blue Sea.
Wait, did we get all the names?
I remember Christopher Lloyd was Al, wasn't he?
No, I mean the names of our Deep Blue Sea names.
Yes, I'm Vin
mine would be-
McEnroe.
Yeah, not all the names of the people in Angels.
That's another episode. Let's just read the IMDb list off of.
So I just want to say one more thing about Angels in the Outfield is that it's kind of wild that a big plot point of that movie is that like those kids like more or less just like say like, oh, if the Angels win we'll get adopted, and Danny Glover just goes along with it.
I didn't remember that about the movie. It's so the kids get
are in
adopted.
foster
That was
care,
like,
and I don't.
Uh-huh.
I mean I don't think I've seen that.
Brenda Fricker,
Yes,
right?
she's like
Yeah.
she's a very
Yeah.
she's their foster mom, and there's something about like the kids are like, oh, well, maybe I honestly I could be wrong, but I feel like someone's like, well, maybe if the Angels win the pennant, you'll have a chance of getting adopted, which is kind of a mean thing to say to a foster kid. But then look, I have a lot of questions now. I need to rewatch this movie.
Well,
So-
to be fair, both times the Tampa Bay Rays made the World Series, I adopted children. I was on such a high that I
Well-
just filled out a form. I didn't, I refinanced my home.
yeah.
I have 2 Corvettes. Like, it's really bad when the Rays go to the World Series for me because
but
I'm horribly in debt.
it's on online shopping, man. You can get kids really easy now. You know?
Especially when the Rays win.
yeah, and they have those BOGO sales.
All right, before we get to Deep Blue Sea, which movie has the better McConaughey jump? Angels in the Outfield, where he gets pulled along by an angel, or Rain of Fire? I did the math. I think he jumped somewhere around 37 feet.
I'm not prepared for
Horizontally,
this
straight
question.
horizontally.
Yeah, I did the math too. He floats.
These are both movies that I'm having to pull the memory hole.
I have never
for,
seen
so
Angel in the Outfield, so today I found out
Rain
it's
of
about
Fire.
sport.
Yeah, Rain of Fire is Jerry Butler, McConaughey, and Christian Bale, and Isabella battling dragons.
Yeah. I vaguely remember the Angels in the Outfield sequence, so I'll say that because I can remember.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about Jim Whitlock's demise in Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah, now we have confirmed he is dead in this scene. The previous scene we were saying, is he still alive? Could he potentially be in the sequels? But here we see, if he is still alive, he needs a lot of help.
And he got out of the gurney.
Yes, I'm not sure he got out of the gurney. I think he's no longer in it, but I don't think he took an active role in getting out of it.
Maybe he got out, and there's a deleted scene with auto asphyxiation that happened that we didn't.
God.
While I'm down here,
It's a family show, Rob.
well, what do I got to lose? It's very Lars von Trier for a moment there.
Right, I mean, Skarsgård,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yep.
Ugh. He
Well,
goes
okay.
full Dogville.
I'm gonna ask a dumb question since we're talking about the scene, and maybe I'm jumping ahead. But when Thomas Jane Carter, when he goes to swim down before he finds dead Whitlock, Skoggs yells something at him when he goes down. It sounds like he yells Brian, but that's not his name. So what did he yell?
His name's Carter.
That's a great question, guys.
I thought he yelled
Come back.
Carter. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he
It
yelled that
sounds
too.
like Brian. It sounds like he yells Brian.
Maybe it's Carter Brian Blake.
That's what I was wondering. Like, I even started Googling. Do we know his middle name?
It is